pandemic got us into a reflective space and made us look inward to see what we can do for the world at large. As a self-expression coach, I became a catalyst for women and started Vani, a one-on-one coaching program for women on finding their voice, to speak up, to be visible. As a storyteller, I spotted there were many ordinary people amongst us leading extraordinary lives, making a difference to the world, and they needed to be heard. Thus was born You and I with Rashmi Shetty, where amazing personal journeys with their uniqueness and individuality are showcased. A reaffirmation of the fact, open your eyes wider, the world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guest today is Dr. Shweta Jaiswal, an ambivert who is both liberal and conservative, spiritual yet follows religious practices, an allopathic doctor who also believes in God's grace for healing. She has worked across India in a variety of healthcare setups, ranging from rural hospitals to state-of-the-art tertiary care centers. Through her professional experience, she has encountered many life and death situations that have kept her grounded and empathetic towards the pain and sufferings that people face. A cancer survivor, she now believes more in God's divine plan for us. Her cancer journey has transformed her, and she believes that devoting time to family, as in Vasudev Kutumbakam, and personal health should be a priority for every individual. Listen in as she talks about why self-love is important and why it's important to ask for help. Completely grateful, Shweta says she bows down to the Lord every morning for giving her a new day, a new challenge, and a new life. Amazing, surreal, absolutely fantastic to be meeting you, Dr. Shweta. This is something that I really wanted, especially reading about you. And when you just stepped into my LinkedIn profile and left a remark, I was curious to know what makes you you. So I am now, first of all, starting with a formal welcome to you and I with Rashmi Shetty, and curious to know what little Shweta was to the Dr. Shweta Jaiswal that the world knows today.
Oh, well, first of all, thanks for having me here, Rashmi. And I mean, it's, I would say, a wonderment for me to connect with you like this because otherwise, I don't think it would have been possible. So, yeah, I mean, it's great to be here with you. And little Shweta to Dr. Shweta, I don't know, it's been a long journey. The little me was like, something about my background is that I belong to a family of doctors. So even when I was a small kid, I was like, maybe I just want to be a doctor. It's like happens in India all the time. Anybody who comes visiting to your home, they're but naturally asking the kids, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? So my answer was always like, I want to be a doctor, just like my mom and dad. So it was like that. So it happened like that. I was a studious kid, not very much into anything else except studies. And the only other passion that I had was bike riding, but I think I saw Top Gun in 1990. It came out in 1986, but I saw it in 1990. And, everybody, like everybody else, I fell in love with Tom Cruise and aviator sunglasses and bikes. Even though I was a girl, my parents have never treated me like, that you are a girl, you're not supposed to do this and supposed to do that. So I fell in love with riding bikes. So those were the only two things that I did.
No. Before we get into your bikes, I want to know which city you grew up in. And is it common for girls to be on bikes there?
No. I belong to a very small town in Chhattisgarh now. That's Raipur, the capital city of Chhattisgarh. But in the 1980s, it was a small town. And me being a girl riding a bike I don't think anybody else was doing that. And much to the chagrin of my, schoolmates, the boys, they used to talk to their parents like, she's driving a bike and we are riding a cycle. That is not acceptable. So yeah, I would give credit to my father and my elder brother, whose bike it was actually.
So
Then
what
they
was your
never
first
stopped
bike,
me.
Shweta? What was your first bike?
Kawasaki Bajaj.
Okay. Okay.
So and they never stopped me from doing it. They encouraged me, okay, why don't you ride a bike? I mean, it's okay, you want to ride a bike.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I belong to, I would say I'm blessed to have very cool parents.
True.
They have been very supportive, always.
Okay. And then you said very studious kid. So it was a very natural choice that you were so studious that you got into medical college. Where did you study medicine?
I did all of my schooling in Raipur. That's my hometown. So I did my graduation from there, my post graduation from there, and then I got married, and then I worked in various other parts of India, roaming about here and there.
And
So
when you were a doctor, as you moved into your profession, moved into post graduation, were you just doing it because you liked it, or because you just chose it and you moved on with it? Were there, like when you're doing medicine, you are exposed to so many different subjects, right? So, what was your specialization, your core calling that you wanted to do, and did you continue with that?
okay, so my mom is a gynecologist, and my father is a general surgeon. So, but naturally, my mom wanted me to pursue gynae. Somehow or the other, I wasn't very convinced about gynecology as such. Then, whenever my mom used to operate, so they used to call an anesthetist. So, without an anesthetist, the surgery could not start. So then I realized, that the anesthetist is the vital part of this surgery. So without an anesthetist, the surgery won't start. And I found it very cool, elevating pain, basically. So then I read a bit about anesthesia, and then one of my father's friend was my professor actually. So I had a word with him, and he was like, "Why do you want to take up anesthesia? And when your mom is a gynecologist, and girls generally tend to take up gynecology." So I said, "No, I want to know more." So he was a very I would say remarkable person in the sense that he was very history wise. So he told me about the entire history of anesthesia and then how did it came up. So the part about elevating pain that appealed to me actually. That without an anesthetist you could have surgeries, but that it would be very painful. And the importance of an anesthetist or an intensivist in an ICU. So when I realized that I could actually help people in another way, so then I took up anesthesia. So my main calling was to relieve pain. That is what I wanted to do.
That's so beautiful. And it's so deep. Were you somebody who was inclined to any kind of NSS activities or social service or something like that? That pain was such an important element that you wanted to be part of?
Ever since I was a child, I that's what my mother used to tell me, that I was very empathetic. So I mean, I just didn't like seeing people suffer. And the other part I would attribute it is to Bhagavad Gita. Even then, I was a child. I first read Bhagavad Gita when I was, I think, 14 years old. I didn't understand anything, being very honest with you. And my mom was like, okay, it's okay if you don't understand. You're trying to read, that is commendable. So the other part was that I was always into trying to do some sort of social work, in the sense that there was a Mother Teresa orphanage in our city, and me and my mother used to go there every Sunday. So it was only for orphans and elderly ladies. So we used to go there, and just my mother used to do just some health checkup on the ladies, and we just used to spend some time there, and it gave us a lot of peace of mind actually. So that is something which I mean, my mother has encouraged in me, and I have always felt an inside in me, always.
And finding the right profession to do that is a super blessing.
Yeah.
And as you progressed as an anesthetist, any story where you were glad you made that choice? Any moment or any experience that you think told you that, yes, this is a beautiful choice and thank God I'm doing something like this?
So there are many such moments. One is like, so it was early 2000, and I was just stepping out of the hospital, and I got a call that a patient had had a cardiac arrest. And it was a government hospital setup. So you can imagine 20 years back in a government hospital, the limited facilities that we used to have. So I just rushed back and the team was doing CPR, and we did CPR on that lady for around an hour, and we saved her actually. She was a young lady, she had just delivered, and post a normal delivery, she had gone into a cardiac arrest, happens sometime. And we revived her. And she was normal. I mean, there was no loss of brain functions or anything like that. And that moment I was actually, felt that this is my calling, this is the right thing. I could, save somebody's life. I would not say that I saved her life. It was just like we were there to help her come back.
No wonder medicine is described as a noble profession. There is so much, and I think the pandemic again revived that respect the doctors have earned over the years. And somewhere in between, maybe because of some professionals, there was a question mark, but I think the pandemic showed us who the true warriors are when the need arose. Again, a space where the frontline workers were there for everyone. So noble it definitely is. I think blessed are those who can do what doctors can do. And yes, and you stayed in different cities or from Raipur, where did you move post marriage?
Well, I got married in Bhopal, so I was in Bhopal for 3 years. And my husband is also a doctor. So then we decided that, we want to serve in rural India. So we moved on to Dhamtari. That's a small town in Chhattisgarh, very close to Bastar, the Naxalite, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
tribal population. So there's this old 100-year-old Christian hospital there. So we served there for 5 years. And when I joined that hospital, there was never an anesthetist in that hospital. So they were trying to manage somehow. And I was the first anesthetist of that hospital. So you can just imagine, the
Yeah.
situations they were in. And it was a big hospital, and it was catering to all sorts of rural population, tribal population, and we had very little limited resources. So yeah, working in those conditions, it actually brings to it brings to your mind that this is the real India. We get all sorts of facilities in big cities and metros, and but what about the real India? The majority of India is not living in metros, right? So the healthcare that they get, and these days I understand most of my colleagues, and even I, for that matter, no longer live in rural India. But yeah, even if we can devote a part of our lives in serving in rural India, it would be a great blessing.
But wasn't the fear of life something that stopped your decision? Because Naxalite driven areas are not very safe, right? Many people say and believe that. What is your call on people who say that those areas are not safe? Since you lived there for 5 years, you must have learned a lot.
They never bother you. I mean, you are saving lives, you're helping people. Nobody will bother. One of my husband's patient was an axolite. We came to know about very late. But for us, any patient is just a patient. For me, a patient is a patient. He can be, a topmost government official. He can be a poor beggar. A patient is a patient.
So it's all about being human and just bringing that human element out. And I think that's the profession that you are in that brings out that element always. And I think that's uppermost in whatever you do. So where did life take you post that?
Post that, I went to Raipur back again for some time. Then I was in Raigad, that's a steel plant city. Then I came to Chandigarh, and then I'm in Chandigarh for the last many years.
Okay, okay. And what did life have in store for you when you moved here? And what are the different challenges that you saw? Was life all hunky dory?
Life is never hunky-dory. That part that I would like to say is, being an intensivist, it's very stressful when you're just dealing with death and seriously ill patients on a day-to-day basis. It takes a toll on your own mental health as well. I won't deny that. And if anyone can go through the statistics, anesthetists and intensivists have the highest suicide rates because the sheer stress of dealing with so much illness, so much death on a daily basis, it actually gets to you. So it's not been easy. It frankly depressed me and disturbed me quite a lot. But thankfully, my family and I have a son, so my kid was, you can say, his picture. That's an old one. So they have always kept me grounded and sane. So family and, spending quality time with family saved me. Otherwise, I would have been into depression, maybe. So that was that. And then surprisingly, in 2018, I was working, I think, at the peak of my career, working throughout long days in ICU. And then I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. All of a sudden, I don't have a family history. So, it was a big shock for me. And that time, my son was 9 years old. So I was very scared. Actually, as if what's going to happen to him, who's going to take care of him. Being a mother, you're always scared of your children's well-being more than your own. So, yeah, it took me some time to process that. Thankfully, I was surrounded with a wonderful team of doctors and nurses who took care of me, wonderful care of me, and my friends and family, obviously. So it was a long battle. I think from 2018 till 2019 end, surgery followed by chemotherapy and, all the problems associated with it. So yeah, that was that. That was a major life changer.
Now, sometime back, you spoke about anesthetists and intensivists are people who see so much of death around them, so much of pain around them that it depresses. And when you are talking about your profession and then you are diagnosed with something like this, the C word is a scary word to everyone. And when the entire declaration is cancer, then there is a step, not one, but many steps back that we take in life. So, for a person who's been in that profession, were you any different? Where could you take it more practically than the rest of us could? Or did you ask the same questions that we ask, why me?
No, the two part is the technical part, the doctor part of me handled the patient part of me very well. So I was involved in all of my medical discussions. I had discussions with my oncologist, what line of treatment to be taken, when the surgery should be done, what not to be done. So I was very much a part of my decision making because I was aware of everything. So yeah, that my knowledge helped me a lot in my own treatment. That is agree. The emotional part, the why me part, was like any other person. I'm just also at the end of the day, I'm also another human being like you. So at the end of the day, I'm not a doctor, right? So yeah, the why me was just like anybody else. I was 43 when I was diagnosed, and even the diagnosing oncologists were like, "You're so young," and I was like, "Okay, well, this is not something which happens to young people like you." And I said, yeah. And then the part was like, what did you used to eat and the food and the lifestyle? And mine was a very healthy lifestyle. I used to eat only home cooked food. So they were like, how come you're having cancer? And I said, like, if you are saying that, what am I supposed to say? Yeah. So the why me was like any other cancer patient.
And what helped you pull yourself up? Was Gita something that you went back to at that point of time? How did you look at life? How did you look at life? Did that perspective of life itself change?
Yeah, it changed. I would say 360 degree. I am a totally different person than what I used to be. Going back to Bhagavad Gita definitely helped me. I was always in touch with Bhagavad Gita even when I was working, always. So yeah, I just went back to it, helped me tremendously. And the other thing was my family. My family stood with me like a rock. See, there are days when, any other cancer patient would relate to it. There are days when you just simply don't want to get up. There are days when you just want to give up. That I cannot take it anymore or I cannot do this anymore. But on those days, my family and friends, they pulled me up. They said, no, you have to do it. There's no way you cannot do it. So, yeah, the family support was something which has actually kept me alive, I would say. Being very honest, my doctors gave me a lifespan of 1 year because pancreatic cancer is the leading cause of death. So I was diagnosed in 2018. So they told me 1 year, sort out everything. And I was like, how do I sort out everything in 1 year? I mean, what am I supposed to do? So, yeah, but then my family was like, no, we'll take it as it comes. Then I went back to Bhagavad Gita again and again and again. And yeah, that has pulled me through.
Shweta, cancer takes a toll not only physically but mentally also. And having been in the space of a patient, I'm sure you have had your journey. And with caregivers around you as a family, the family also goes through a lot. So, can you explain a little bit of the toll that it takes both on the patient and the caregiver?
Yeah, so first of all, as a patient, the difficult part is acceptance. How do you accept the fact that you were healthy a few months ago and now you're a cancer patient who's totally dependent on everybody and anybody? And the why me, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? What I could have done else way or any other way, and how could I have prevented this? These are the thoughts that come to your mind foremost. And even though I am a doctor, it took me a lot of time to accept the fact that it's okay. It happened. It didn't happen because I did something wrong, or uh, maybe I could have changed, but the fact is that I have to accept it now and move on. Going forward is the key. Looking back will not help me in any way. So yeah, that takes a lot of, it's a challenge to accept that. And I would not say it was easy for me. And plus, as soon as the surgery you're through, so obviously you are in pain, then comes the chemotherapy, and it comes with its loads of side effects. And for females, you can understand we have vanity in our hair. We are so much in love with our hair. So the moment you lose your hair, and then you realize that, okay, why was I so attached to my hair in the first place? So, when I lost my hair and I felt bad, and then when I went bald, I was like, okay, this is cool. I can carry this look also. There's no point in getting so much attached to my hair. So it's a simple thing like that, but it bothers you. It mentally bothers you. And then obviously, going back to Bhagavad Gita, or, family and the pep talks that they give you, it helped. It helped a lot. But yeah, it was a stressful event for my family as well. I have elderly parents, and they have their own health challenges. And then they seeing me on a bed with all sorts of tubes running in and out of me was something which actually killed them in a way. They were like broken like never before. Obviously, none of the parents want their children to fall ill. And, elderly parents who are like thinking that, okay, we are going to go soon, see that their kid is there. For me, I'm still a kid to them. So seeing me and having the probability that I may die earlier is a big shock. So yeah, it took a toll of them. It's also a big toll on them. And the other part was my son. He was 9 years old. And how do I explain to him that, I may no longer be there? So, my doctor said, prepare him. I said, how do I prepare a kid to imagine a life without his mother? I'm sorry. Yeah, it was tough, but I think family and friends and everybody just rallied through, and they were like, okay, whatever happens, we'll pull it all. And my husband, though we lost our father-in-law also to cancer a few years back, took it in his stride. He said, okay, no matter what happens, we'll uh, take care of each other. So that helped. But even then, some of my acquaintances who have gone through a similar journey, they have taken help from psychiatrists and psychologists. I had a few conversations with psychologists, and it helped. So I would suggest that to all cancer patients and their family members, it's not easy, and it's not a shame to accept that you're having a tough time. Just like I'm crying in front of you, it's okay to cry. It's okay to show your emotions. And if you need help, take it from psychiatrists, take it from psychologists, take it from anywhere you want. Asking for help is the biggest thing that you can do to actually help yourself.
That's very, very powerful. We don't ask. And I think somewhere as women, we think we have to be super strong all the time.
Yeah.
And being vulnerable sometimes is our biggest strength, and we don't even realize that. Another thing that has helped me tide over a lot of challenges has been that phrase, one of my favorite phrases from Bhagavad Gita, which is Nimitta Matram Bhava Savya Sachin, just be my instrument. And for me, that has helped me a lot to tide over difficult situations. So I can see how powerfully you shared this, and thank you so much for being so vulnerable, Shweta. I think this is so important, that ability to ask and to be vulnerable, I think, is a lot of strength. So when you are seeing yourself so vulnerable, what would you want to tell women who need help but don't ask, because we are supposed to be Miss Super Powers? What would you want to tell women who can just put their burden and the earth that they're carrying on their back down once in a while and sit down to say, okay, I need to take a break?
Being a woman myself like that, I always felt that, what is it that I can't do
Yeah.
to actually putting in, speaking, asking for help for every single thing that I had to do. I had to ask for help for even carrying my bags, because at one point of time, I even didn't have that much strength to hold my bags. Yeah, I would say it takes a lot of courage, but have that courage in you. Believe that you have that courage in you. Believe that you are powerful enough and yet you can ask for help. It's not shameful, it's not a crime, and you are going to be no less stronger or no less great in anyone else's eye if you just ask for help. But believe me, it will help you in the long run. It will make you more powerful just by saying, please help me.
I'm sure it really helps even with the mental health and the well-being
Definitely.
that we are talking about. Yeah.
And one thing I would like to add is I totally concur with your favorite shlok, though I can't say it in Sanskrit. My Sanskrit is not that great. Yeah, surrender to God. I mean, I have surrendered post my illness. I have completely surrendered to Bhagwan, as I call him. And I believe that I have been more blessed than ever before. So even today, I would say, and I say to everybody, my cancer has been one of the greatest blessings of God to me. It changed me, changed my perspective, made me a better person, and made me more closer to God.
And I think that's a very magical journey then on, when you start seeing things just falling into place and the bigger picture, which we never realize when we are in that entire situation. The bigger picture emerges as you zoom out. And I think that is the best part of living life every moment of the day. Thank you. Thank you for being so vulnerable and courageous at the same time, Shweta. Shweta, when you were done, the challenge was overcome and you moved forward. You said life took a 360 turn, right? What is it that you started realizing was most important?
Yeah, I was a workaholic, I tell you. I used to work like crazy. There were no working hours for me. I didn't used to eat. Nothing mattered except, my patients, taking care of my patients. And to the extent that I did compromise my health, I did compromise my family time. And then I realized that if I'm not healthy, I cannot do anything in life. In order to be a good doctor, I need to be healthy first.
True.
How will I take care of others? And the other thing was that family time. Quality family time matters. In our life these days, what we are doing is, madly running behind work or money or career growth or something or the other. And we forget that the basic and the most important thing in our lives is our family. And then we start compromising on the one thing we can compromise on is family time. And then I realized this is not worth it. Nothing in the world is worth my family.
Okay. And another aspect that you pulled up and you spoke about was mental health. The pandemic actually brought out the topic as an open topic in drawing room discussions, media discussions, because a topic which was taboo and spoken in hushed tones suddenly became a conversation that was very routine. So, as far as mental health goes, what is it that you learned in the process of these 5 years about certain tips, which doesn't have to come from a professional only, but for especially women? Okay, especially women. what is it that they need to first prioritize in order to make sure that their mental health is in good condition?
I would say we should prioritize ourselves. We as individuals or we as females, women are up like that you have to take care of everything else first. You know, your family comes first, your relatives comes first, your kid comes first, everything else comes first. When we should, I ask, when will we start teaching our girls or ourselves that we come first? Our mental health comes first. And why can't we talk about it? Previously, even today, you cannot talk about mental health in your office. You cannot say that I'm mentally disturbed or depressed. They'll sack you. It's as simple as that. But we should encourage that. Where are we heading as a society, I would say? Not just in our jobs or things like that, but as a society. If we can't be empathetic towards others, if you can't realize that the other person is in pain, what are you showing you as an individual are? So empathy at workplace, at home, everywhere, in general, in the society, is very important. Talking about mental health, we should encourage people. If you see that someone is fighting a battle, why don't go and talk a few words, and say something genuine or supportive to that other person. You need not discuss the entire matter, but something good can come out of it. Or as simple as that, I practice one thing, smile at strangers. More often than not, people will smile back. Some people will think, oh, why is this crazy lady smiling at me? But more often than not, people tend to smile back. So just bring a smile to somebody's face. That helps. And women should be given the right to say that, I have to take care of myself. You cannot just say that, women, you are supposed to, be a caretaker always.
And as caregivers, I think this is something which is fed into us societal wise. And from the time you are little, this is something that is told to us very subtly, that self love, especially for women, is not something that is good. And but what I really like is now these terms and terminologies are an accepted norm. And even in offices, there are sessions where people are now speaking about all of this. So, having been through that space, having understood that, if there are three things that you would want to tell as far as self love is concerned, what are those three things that you'd like to tell us?
As far as self-love is concerned, the first thing is that self-love is not bad, it's not taboo, and self-love is not selfishness. People say that, you're just obsessed with your own self. That's not that. Self-love is taking care of your own self, being happy in your own space. The other thing that I would say is yoga helps, meditation helps. So if the sages have been saying it from eons, it's not wrong. It's recently now it's become a fad that I do yoga and I do meditation. It's not that. Yoga and meditation genuinely help. So even if you can find time out for say 10 minutes, do a short meditation. It helps. And thirdly, uh, be kind. If you are kind, it gives you a lot of mental peace. So for your own mental health, don't be kind for others. Be kind for your own self. If you're kind to others, you're actually being kind to yourself.
That's so true, Shweta. And the pandemic was also a big pause button for all of us. Everybody took a back step at a time when everyone was running a race and nobody knew where the end is, when the race is going to complete. But they were in a race. Suddenly, it was a treadmill, they realized, which they just needed to press the stop off and get off. On reflection, it was such a simple process. You had the control in that stop button, but you didn't use it, you didn't know about it. So everyone went into a pause mode to reflect and realized what was important, prioritized a lot of yes and no. The great resignation was a result. So, putting all this in perspective, what was it about the pandemic that you learned about life? Because you also had your challenge, your personal challenge around 2018, 19, and 2020 was when the pandemic hit India as well. So, was it a very organic move into a space of slowing down or getting back?
For me, the pandemic was Ever since I've crossed that 1 year mark, which I was given, I think every day is a grace of God, because otherwise I wouldn't have been here talking to you. So I take every day as a grace. So I try to do something new or something good every day. So the pandemic was a year where I upgraded my skills. So for a long time, I was like, I had done my post graduation, which was way back. I hadn't actually gone to and studied something new. So we always study, but not formally. So I did my MBA in the pandemic.
An MBA?
Yeah. That was an MBA in healthcare actually, which I did.
Okay, okay.
So for a long time, I was a doctor. I am still a doctor. So I wanted to get into the management and the other aspects of healthcare, the overall approach to healthcare. So I did an MBA in healthcare. So I upgraded my skill, and then now I'm continuously trying to upgrade my skills. I want to, learn more, know more, study more. So as my son says, Mama, when will you stop studying, or when will you stop reading? I said, when I die.
That is so very true. And as far as hobbies, did you pick up anything new, or did you revisit any hobby of yours?
Yeah, I love baking. I simply love it. So, yeah, because of my work and then my illness, I had stopped doing that. So I revisited baking. And I'm so happy that I did, because actually my son connected with me in that. And now I think he's a better baker than me. So we, went on a baking spree. We baked lots and lots of stuff. And yeah, that was an amazing experience. So baking I think it's soul satisfying actually.
It is, because a lot of women quit their jobs to become home bakers. And they were getting a lot of
Yeah.
orders because everyone was conscious about where the food is coming from in the pandemic. And that helped them become entrepreneurs as well. Let's replace A with I. What happened to your biking?
Oh, biking. Unfortunately, I cannot bike anymore. My health does not permit me to do that. Substituted biking with car driving. So now I just go on drives. Not in a bike, but in a car.
And what has nature's biggest lesson for you been? Nature has been our biggest teacher in the
Yeah.
pandemic. So for you, how has nature helped you connect with this?
Well, I am a lot into gardening. And then COVID pandemic to me was nature's way of telling us to slow down and take care of nature and be more conscious of we as an individual. What are we contributing or taking away from nature? So I have stopped using many products or many things which I was using previously, which I make it a point to read the label of everything that I use and see whether it is eco-friendly or not, whether it has good organic products, how many chemicals are we using. So yeah, I have become more conscious as an individual. And then and I'm starting to encourage plantation. So ever since COVID and even before that, there's a tradition of giving Diwali gifts, right, in India. So previously to that, also I used to give plants to all of my acquaintances in Diwali. No point in giving them sweets. So these days, I encourage people more and more to plant more trees. And so wherever I can and whenever I can, I try to give more and more trees and plants to people so that they are encouraged to plant it.
Okay. And if you can give health tips which are simple, which are very simple, which are possible every day from the medical perspective of how to see fat, thin, fit or otherwise, these are all names, nomenclatures given by people, but there's something called as health, which a lot of people go with the external look rather than internally how healthy you are. So, are there some small tips that everyone can remember more from a professional standpoint that people have to be conscious about in their everyday living, which keeps them healthy? Fat, fit apart, just keeps them healthy. So, if you can give us like two, three tips.
One is, it may not be possible for everybody, but try to eat home cooked food as much as possible. No matter what you eat from outside, from wherever you eat, it's not healthy. It can be tasty, but it's not healthy. So even if it's a simple dal chawal sabzi, but a home cooked meal is a home cooked meal, and nothing can be more healthy than that. The other thing is with the OTT platforms and so many, series and movies coming up, we compromise on our sleep. So the other thing I would suggest is please don't compromise on your sleep. 6 to 8 hours, whatever is your pattern, do take a good sleep. Because at the end of the day, you cannot do anything if you are not, fresh and have slept well. And the other thing is simple, some sort of exercise. I would not say go to a gym or, go do this or do that or power walking. Just some sort of exercise so that your bones and joints are flexible enough. Otherwise, old age is something which no one can avoid. And with old age comes the aching joints and the creaky bones. So yeah, take care of your bones and joints. Particularly for women, as soon as we cross 40, we start losing on our calcium. So, take good calcium supplements, something which is very important for women, and do take care of your bones and joints.
Thank you. Thank you. And as we move towards the end of the conversation, Shweta, 3 life lessons that you'd like to leave us with.
From my own life, what I've learned is, so I would say family comes first. Even if you can spend, say, half an hour or 1 hour with your family, quality family time is most important for your family, for yourself. The other thing is, do take care of your health, mentally, physically, both ways. Mentally, if you are strong and physically you are not well, that doesn't work. Vice versa doesn't work either. So take care of your mental and physical health both. And the third point is, just do one small act of kindness. It takes it goes a long way in taking care of the society as a whole. If we are just kind in one way to one person every day, it goes a long way.
Beautiful, very beautiful, Shweta. And if there is a bumper sticker that you'd like to distribute as a sticker to everyone who comes and meets you, what would that bumper sticker say?
That bumper sticker would say, smile.
Which you do in abundance. Thank you,
Yeah.
Shweta, for being who you are, inspiring people around you. And I'm sure you must be such a love doctor to your patients. Continue being the inspiration, because I think when people like you speak about health, mental health, and well being, it makes a lot of difference to those around. So, God bless you, stay blessed, and thank you so much for being on You and I with Rashmi.
Thank you so much for having me, Rashmi, and it was a wonderful conversation with you. Looking forward to some more conversations with you.
Definitely. With that, we come to the end of this weekly quest of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know people who make the world beautiful. Write in to rashmi.the3rd@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thirdeye@gmail.com. Come, let's explore this amazing world together, both you and I.